Welcome to the Hook Pod.
I'm Chunk.
I'm the Chippy. Today we have a special podcast, which is not just Chunk and I behind the microphone.
No.
We're going to be in front of the camera today.
For the first time.
Yes, for the first time. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're going to have a special pod today. Just us two actually mucking around talking about filleting and what we do down here at Hooked on Middleton Beach in Albany, Western Australia. We fillet lots of different fish, and we thought we would show you what we do as a commercial outfit and not just recreationally. We have to fillet fish just about every day of the week, don't we, Chunk?
Yes, we do.
First of all, I started filleting for, I suppose, an income about 20 years ago, and I didn't know a lot about it, done a bit of rec work. You've done a bit of rec work too, Chunk?
Yep, done a lot. All of my fishing's rec work.
But as probably for the last 18 months you've realised that we do a little bit more filleting here than when you go out in a boat once a week or once a month.
Yep.
And we need to have the right equipment and more equipment than you would probably have as a rec.
Can't just go hacking around, so to speak.
Can't just go hacking around. We need to make sure that we're getting every single bit of flesh off every bit of bone that we can get, because we actually have to make a living out of it.
Yep.
So we have to have the right equipment, and probably 21 years ago, when I first got into fish and chip shops up in Perth, I ran into a couple of old chippies in Perth, 3 Greek guys, 1 Italian, and a Malaysian chap who was a little bit younger than me. I went to the fish market. Theo Kalis was the auctioneer. I used to go back to their shops, and they taught me how to fillet and how to fillet fish differently for actually cooking for customers. So butterflying, the way we do our whiting, and, getting the most out of every different species. And it sort of enlightened me a bit, and it's taken quite a few years to perfect it. And now that you've been with us for 18 months, you're sort of learning how to, do it commercially so that we can make a dollar out of it.
Yeah, definitely commercially.
Yeah, and those guys, I'm gonna actually tell people who they are. Not that anyone's ever going to know. It was Harry, Rocky, Paul, Bill and Jay. They were my mates, and they got me into the fish market.
Sounds like a movie film.
Yes, like I said, there were 3 Greeks, an Italian, Rocky Barbaro, and there was Jay. He was the Malaysian chap who's a very, very good friend of mine. And we all used to hang out together, drink coffee after the fish market, after, the auction, and get our fish. We'd zip into the veggie market in Canning Vale and pick up our lemons, which you need to go with your fish, and then we'd sit down and talk for an hour and have the funniest times ever.
Yeah.
And then we'd go back to our shops, each other's shops, and that's how I did all my training. So I don't have them anymore now that we're in Albany, and they're all up in Perth. Most of them have retired, and I'm still filleting fish the way they taught me.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. But one of the fish that we do have down here on the south coast, we also have King George Sound right out in front of our shop here, and we get King George whiting out of King George Sound. And I sort of fell into this knife because I've always liked martinis. I ordered some online. They didn't have exactly the size that I wanted, and I ended up with this 10 centimetre blade. And it's the best knife that I now use for all my whiting, even if they are elbow slappers or they're only, a couple of 100 mil long whiting. What do they got to be? 28.
I think so, yeah.
280,
Yep.
Even the smaller whiting. This knife I love because it gets, it's a lot more intricate, get closer to the bone, fits in my hand perfectly.
Your hand control on it's just...
I like the wooden handle on this one, even though we usually use the martinis, which have got the, hard plastic handles. But this, for smaller fish, we've done roll mops. We use herring. even for, doing the herring and that as well. I like using that very small, but that is the only thing I use that for, only for very small, thin fish. The next blade we like using is, these martinis range from 10 to 15 to 19 centimetre blades. This is a 19. This is my favourite. It's not that flexible. It's quite firm. And that is what I fillet, Most of our fish I do estuarine cobbler with it, which we do a lot of most weeks. I like that. I've got 3 of these, this size, and I've gotten you onto them. You enjoy using them?
Yeah, well, I grew up on Swebos, to be honest.
Yep.
Dad being a butcher.
That's right.
But
I have a Swebo here. We use this for the cartilage on our sharks mainly.
they're not what you need for fish.
And big fish like big blue grouper, which I filleted the other day. This is good for cutting through the bone.
Yep.
So something really, really firm is good for bone work and that, where these are mainly just for the flesh. Good on pinkies and that, though. I use these because pinkies have got, big scales and that, and you've got to get through them. These are pretty good for that.
Yeah.
As long as you keep them sharp.
How do you find them for the, what do you call it, the big pin bone that runs through the side of, your big demersals, your pinkies and your queenies and...
Yeah, they're fine. I mean, you go around most of the pin bone as much as you can, and you've got to take it out. Once you've taken the side off the fish, flip it over. You don't have to go through the pin bone, but it's just a matter up near the head when you're taking a side of the fish off.
Yeah.
You have to go through a little bit of bone there, and they're fine for that.
Yeah.
As long as the fish aren't, 20, 30 kilos.
Yeah.
Because then you've got a thick bone you've got to get through, and I use something firm like, that Swebo. I've always used for when you're cutting the skin off of a shark, so when we're doing bronzies, whiskeries, gummies, and you've got to take the fins off, getting through the skin, I always use a knife like that, not one of these, because with these, if you use this on the skin, cutting through the skin, they go blunt very quickly.
Yeah.
And I like to just keep them for flesh and keep them really sharp, where this thing, I abuse this quite a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why you've always got to go back to the stone now and then, and to get this more than those, I can usually just use a steel on those. This one here is a F-Dick, which I use continuously every day. And then I'll use the diamond scan pan probably once a day, just in the morning to get ready for the day.
Yeah.
And then I use this guy, which is the F-Dick, made in Germany, sharpener, steel. That gets more work than anything. But once you get through the skin, once you get through the scales and you get onto flesh, one of the best knives that I've ever used is this Dexter Russell. It's, what's that blade, Chunk? Probably 30 centimetres.
Yeah, I think being American, it'll be classed as a 12-inch knife.
Yep. This is made in the USA. It's
how them Yanks talk.
Yeah, it's what my mates used to call a ham knife.
Yep.
But when you get decent sized fish and you got to get the skin off them, this is fantastic. And I also use this when I've got big slabs of fish off a fish, 10 kilo, pinky, something like that, or, some goldies we might get from up north, or a groper, you get big steaks off the side of them.
Yeah.
To actually portion it, I would use this Dexter Russell, 30 centimetre blade for those bigger fish, just to portion. And because it's got 30 centimetres of blade, which is some of those fish, the width of the side of the fish is that long. So you need that. That's the 4 that I use. Now, sharpening, lots of people, I've never really been taught how to sharpen, only from my father, because he was a chippy, just like you, Chunk.
Yep.
He was a carpenter, and he used to use, a stone, which I have here. It was actually his and I still use it. So, I probably only do that once a month on my knives to use a stone. And I would use the diamond, like I was saying, in the morning once a day. And then you're using your, I have an F-Dick, which is a steel, which I would use continuously all day. Now, the one thing about these, when you are doing fish, and especially, when your knives are getting blunt, and that's why I have 3 martinis, because I'll sharpen all 3 in the morning, and I won't sharpen them during the day. I will just go on to the next one and the next one, and then the next day I'll, start the process again. So I've got 3 of those, which I use on, if we're doing 200 kilos of nanagai, or we're doing, 100 kilos of pinks and queenies. I use like 3 knives continuously, so I don't have to sharpen them.
Yeah.
And then I'll
get your prep done while you're setting up for the day, and it saves time in the long run.
That's right. One of the biggest things with these sharpening steels is keeping them clean, because when they are full of all the muck off your knives and you've been using it, especially, this steel, when you're using it continuously during the day, you need to get a wire scourer, metal scourer.
Steel scourer, yeah.
And you need to clean them. And I do that every day. Now, once you get all the muck off them, you can actually then, they will make your knife so much sharper and keep the blade so much better. So that's one little trick that you need to use. And it's both of these. It's also the diamond steel as well. You need to clean it with a good metal scourer.
I think that's probably one of the most important things you've taught me over the last...
Yeah, if you want to keep a sharp knife.
Just the ease of sharpening your knife too. It just gets all that crap out of it, and it's ridiculous how much of a difference it makes.
Yep.
To
one of the other things you must need to have, you do need to have when you're filleting is a good glove. And this is a knife-resistant glove. It's not one of those heavy mesh ones. It's a cut-resistant glove, and I wear that just in case, because I cut my fingers most days. But if you wear this continuously, even if you nick your hand with this cut-resistant glove on, you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
I don't use it for small fish, for whiting and stuff like that. That's probably where I do nick my fingers and that a bit.
Is that why you got no fingernails left, mate?
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Sharpen them up every day.
Yeah. But no, that's from being in business, mate. Worrying too much. No, these gloves, you need to have one of these. I have it on my right hand because I use my left hand for sharpening, which my son says is impossible. How can you sharpen being a left-hander, Dad? But I do get around it. And he thinks it just looks so weird, you know, someone using their left hand. But
I think all left-handers get that treatment, mate.
Yeah, and make sure you're filleting away from your body, not towards your body. We use really good PVC aprons because, especially for cobbler and things like that, comes out estuaries and that, they've got a bit of yuck on them.
Yeah, they're pretty messy.
And, if you're not being careful when you're doing hundreds of kilos of fish, sometimes you are piercing the organs in a fish.
Yep.
And it makes a bit of a mess on your board and a mess on your apron. So you've got to have the right equipment if you don't want to make a mess, and if you're doing, kilos and kilos of fish like we have to.
Mm.
What's some of your favourite fish to fillet, Chunk?
Definitely the whiting. I like the fiddly stuff.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I've always enjoyed it. And that's the same as, in me building, like the finer, more fiddly.
Yep, intricate things.
Yeah, the satisfaction at the end is, so much more,
Yep.
There's more involved, there's more skill, there's more attention to detail that's needed. It's not just as simple as ripping it off, getting the skin off.
Yeah, not like when you're down the beach and you caught a couple of fish, you don't have to worry about it.
There's more satisfaction in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it is where you have to put a lot of time and effort in to get the results that we need.
Yeah. What about yours?
For the business. I like the mid-sized fish. I don't like like the big 22 kilo blue groper that I filleted the other day,
Yeah.
and big sambos and that, which we get in quite often.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even fit in the fish tub half the time. They're just hard work.
Yeah, they're just hard work.
They're just hard work because you've got to roll them over.
Yeah.
Physically they're hard work. But I like mid-size, you know, a nice 5 kilo pink snapper or anything, 5-6 kilos, dewies up to like 10 kilos. They're very easy to do and you can handle them and you get really good fillets off them.
Yeah.
And that size is pretty easy to fillet. And also you can take the wings off them and they're not too hard to get off with the real big fish. That's hard work.
No, that's a good learning how to do wings.
Yeah. No, I don't mind doing whiting. I've done millions of whiting in my time.
I'm sure you have.
20 years because we specialise in King George whiting. I can do a whiting in 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And it takes me 45 seconds to scale one with a high pressure hose. So a minute and a half I can do a whiting in, which is, you know, what I've really worked on over the years because I have to do so many of them to get them done quick. When you get, you know, when you're getting 30 kilo in and there's 4 to the kilo, you got 120 fish to do. It can't take you all day to get them done.
No.
So, I've sort of
worked on your technique.
Yeah, well, being a person for numbers, I like counting. I like
You're a stats man.
I am, and trying to beat my record.
Yep.
And getting in the zone, I think that's the other thing. I mean, you know, Brad used to fillet, and he used to put the headphones on, and he'd get in the zone, and he'd have, you know, 150 kilos of nannies, and they're all 1.5 kilos.
Yep.
I'd just leave him on the sink, and he was playing his favourite music. No one would get anywhere near him, and in about 15 minutes' time, he'd have, you know, a pile of fish on the sink ready to be scun, and it's getting in the zone. It certainly helps.
Yeah. Brad, your son, he's the fastest filleter I have ever seen.
Yeah. Now, after you do fillet the fish, well, actually, before you fillet the fish, the other thing that we have to do down here is get good quality fish.
Yeah.
And we always talk to our fishermen and, you know, having them bled, having them spiked, put in a nice, you know, saltwater slurry.
Yep.
We don't usually get them the evening when they're caught. We get them the next morning and they're usually well set nice, which is really, really important for us.
Yeah,
and,
it's a bit unrealistic for the fishermen to get them to you that night.
That's right. Yeah. No, they're usually not always fishing in Albany. They're on the both sides of Albany and the, you know, 100k away or 50k away or whatever.
Yeah.
But getting that fish treated properly by the fishermen is so important because it makes our life so much better, the recovery so much better. And if there's, you know, obviously we don't fillet them until they're set, and ice slurry certainly helps that. And also, you know, brain spiked, clip their gills, and so that they bleed is very important because the colour of the flesh is very, very important for us because of the amount of grilling we do, plus, you know, the taste is so much better as well. One of the other things is if you're looking after your fish and when we're filleting is not to use much fresh water. Fresh water makes the flesh deteriorate, so we have to make sure that we're only sort of washing it once. We fillet it all, we skin it all, we wash it once. Nanagai, one of the biggest issues is because those very, very sharp scales, as you would know, having a glove on when you fillet a nanagai. Yeah,
it took me a while to get used to wearing a glove.
Yep.
With fish.
The pin bone's in the wrong spot.
Yep.
Doesn't go up the fat line, up the middle, it goes off to one side.
Yep.
And then you've got those scales that get stuck in the flesh because the flesh separates a bit on an nanagai. I do wash them twice because I can't send a bit of nanagai out with one of those razor sharp scales on.
No.
So they need a bit more care. They need a little bit more water, unfortunately. But that's another thing you need to do when you're, you know, washing your fish. Don't wash your fish at all if you can help it. Once you've filleted it, just put it in a bag, vac it, or put it in the fridge ready to eat. And, you know, you can give it a little bit of a little wash if you want just before you stick it in the pan.
You can always bring some, for the average recce at home, they can always bring salt water home.
Yeah. Or obviously, if you got a ice slurry on your boat,
yeah,
it's going to have salt water in there anyway. When you're looking after your fillets, least amount of fresh water as possible will get you a lot better product.
Yep.
One of the biggest things with us with filleting is just working on margin. I mean, our bottom line filleting, our margin is all we think about at that time. We have to get the best recovery out of a fish. Like pinks are 33% recovery, and that's with everything off the fillet. And, queen snapper or blue morwong, they're wow, if you get 25%, you're doing well. Nannies are about 28%.
Yeah.
And that's getting it right back to the flesh that we can actually sell. So that's why we have to, make sure we've got the right equipment and we obviously get the right, margin out of the fish, because we have to do it for making an income.
Yeah. Take care, and you're not just hacking through it.
Yeah.
Any wishy-washy way.
That's right. Yeah. One of the other things is when we work with our shark, and we try and use as much as we can. And at the moment, we're using the shark cartilage for dog treats.
Yeah.
And
hasn't that been a little revelation for you?
Well, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And then dehydrating it, bagging it up and selling it on. But it's great that we can use as much of the fish as possible, because that's what we've been trying to do over the years, use more of the fish as we can.
Yeah. Sustainable.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to use as much as Josh Nyland does over in Sydney, because he uses most of the fish, but we're not chefs, and we have to get as much of the flesh as we can. The wings we try and use up. We try and use, shark. We're now using the cartilage of the shark for dog treats, which very good for their arthritis, very good for their teeth, and dehydrating that has been great. We want to take as least amount of waste, to landfill as possible.
Yep.
One of the other things that we can talk about is how our fish are caught. We still get the smaller species netted, and we do have shark fishermen down here who net as well. But they also longline, and we find that long lining or not hand lining, wet lining off a boat, hooking gives you a much better product. And we always try and get our fish off long liners, which is, a line along the bottom of the ocean with many, many hooks on it. And they're only left out for, say, 4 hours at a time. You get a lot of sharks, you get a lot of bigger fish, bigger nannies, bigger pinks. We love that sort of fish because it's just really good quality. Fish caught in a net is not quite as good. Sharks in a net's fine, but actual scale fish in nets aren't as good because they've been thrashing around in a net overnight, and the blood circulates through their body.
Yeah, the flesh just gets a bit bruised up, doesn't it?
It does, and they're definitely not as good a quality.
No.
So we specialise in getting hooked fish as much as we can, and it gives us a much better quality meal when we're serving it up to our customers. So,
which you do get with all those demersals you get, really.
Yeah. I mean, jewfish, break, sea cod, nannies. In season, we get the blue eye and the harpooker.
I think that's what separated you a little bit, is your fussiness and attention to detail.
Yeah, when I first come down here, there was fishermen who weren't bleeding the fish, but the guys who bring it to me now all bleed their fish.
Yeah.
And, I don't mind giving them more money.
Premium dollar for it.
That's right. And we end up with a premium
product.
Correct. So that's the way to treat your fish. Always look after it. Always fillet it with the right equipment and very sharp equipment. You must keep your knife sharp to get through, the skin, the scale, the bone, and then you end up with a fantastic product at the end of the day. All right, thanks very much. Anyone out there listening or watching, thank you very much. We will be putting on some more videos of fish filleting and showing people what we do and how we do it in the Great Southern or Western Australia. So thanks very much for listening.
Thanks for joining us all.
This episode is sponsored by Hooked on Middleton Beach, twice voted Australia's best fish and chips, 2018 and 2024.